fuck are you doing here?
Any day now.
Motherfucker. Hey guys, this motherfucking Moulage.
And Duke, welcome to Gas Mask Bunker. The actual gas mask bunker.
As you can see, we are in a bunker.
Full of gas masks.
Yes.
There's really not much that you can decipher from that. There's no additional context that need comprehension.
Now, I could talk about some of the things in the background, but I mean, we've got a lot of episodes to do this month. Probably, I think we were talking about like, what, 40, 50 episodes a month?
Let's get the bunker set up fit first.
We're doing all.
We're doing it now?
We're doing it. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
Okay. So, as a first order of business, what mask should we review today?
So today I was thinking, because I hate all of you, and I know that you guys see these things in the background. I know you do.
I think they can see the things in the background, Moulage.
I know.
We've established this.
So, we're picking nobody's favorite today. Actually, you guys might find this interesting, actually.
Some of you are a pretty low common denominator and might find this enjoyable.
I think the people that like this have patrician taste.
And how?
Anyway, what we are talking about today... Oh my god, I haven't worn this mask in forever. What we are talking about today is this, which is a very interesting Soviet mask, because it really, until like, what, 2 years ago, I didn't think these actually existed. I didn't think that this was actually something that they did.
I would have believed they existed if someone told me. I would have kept it sort of on the back burner of my brain. Just like, you never know what those crazy Russians are going to string together with baling wire and horse glue.
And there's a lot of horse glue in this, let's be honest. So, Duke, you're a little bit better at the Russian designations than me. Would you like to basically give a slight rundown?
So what we have here is sort of an amalgam of a few different parts. The face piece itself is the World War II era SHM-1, which is the face piece without the integrally molded TISO deflectors. You might see that they lack the bumps where the TISO, or airflow deflectors, if you will, were molded in to redirect the incoming air towards the eyepieces. So this still has the older World War II separate tubes, but it's using the later SHM-41M extended valve box assembly. And I'm sure there's a specific designation for that part, but I'm not too brushed up on all my Russian designations. I'm just kind of winging it here. So it's sort of an anomaly, and we know that these are post-war manufactured, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, so actually there was a very specific... I cannot see anything right now. Can you?
Yeah.
But, so there's a very specific point in time in the late 60s where they took a lot of these older masks from World War II and they retrofitted them with a new valve box because of the secondary exhale valve, which obviously the World War II models lacked.
Both, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously the World War I models didn't have it either, but because the Russians from World War II with the SHM-1 and the O-11 all the way through to obviously the GP5 and even the
even today, like
SM-2012?
SHM 2012 or something like that.
So
the reason behind the extended valve box...
Sorry, it's been the same valve box this whole time. That was the point I was trying to make. Same diameter valve box this whole time.
But with minor variations and revisions to the design, you can see it's using the older style wire and tape. Later in the war, they started introducing the metal clamps that you start seeing on most of the more common Soviet-era masks. But this, despite being a post-war mask, interestingly, I guess they didn't want to put too much effort into retrofitting this with modern parts. They were just good enough replacing the valve box, and that was it. The face piece was serviceable enough as it was. But the reason for the valve box upgrade, to my recollection, is that the older World War II era SHM-1 or O-11, whatever, valve boxes, they had an issue in very harsh winters where the tulip valve, as it's called, the outlet valve inside the mask, which was the only outlet valve on those valve boxes, had a habit of freezing over. Like, it would get icicles on it, it would basically fail to seal, fail to open when exhaling. It would cause all sorts of problems in very harsh conditions. So they would later go, and this one, it's missing on this example, unfortunately, but you've seen it before on GP5.
It's the same as a GP5 or any other Soviet mask.
And they effectively added an additional secondary valve, and the whole purpose of that is to aid in de-icing so that all of the condensate would accumulate on this valve and it would be easier to de-ice with your finger rather than having the main tulip valve tucked inside the valve box where you can't really stick a finger inside there, especially while gloved, and de-ice that. And
so especially, and on the GP5, the one that you guys know, it's a little bit smaller, but here, this larger chamber effectively creates kind of a hot box of air where it's still good and insulated and can keep warm, so you still have a functioning exhale valve.
The other purpose for this extended valve box assembly is you may notice that there is a rib along the exterior diameter of the valve box, and that is specifically for a hose sleeve, or in some cases a winterizing cover. So there would be additionally a third valve, just as a belts and braces approach to prevent frost from accumulating anywhere inside this mechanism itself. But that was the main primary reason for having this extended chamber, aside from having the additional dead space for warm air to accumulate, is so that additional accessories such as the winterizing rubber boot or the hose sleeve for rocket refueling purposes could be attached to this mechanism. However, later they found out this additional length was redundant. They could just as easily do that on the shorter SHM62 style valve assemblies. So they later omitted this design, although I think it stuck around for the SHMSR or PRVU mask. I think they... I'd have to get it out of storage and take a look, but...
Folks, we're very rusty on Soviet masks.
We haven't done this for a very long time, I'm sure you're all aware. But we're going to get back into it soon, as we've established.
Yeah.
So what else would we potentially see with a kit like this? I would assume it'd be pretty much either...
It'd be a standard RSH-4 kit, wouldn't it?
That's what I would assume too, but I could also picture maybe some of the older World War II kits with like the MO4 filters. I think that's what they're called.
MO2?
MO2. I think there was an MO4. Yeah. A lot of the older late World War II stuff would possibly be recycled with this, although I can't say for certain.
So going to the inside, and again, you can still see this is... I'd put the flexibility of this on par with a Chinese TF1, which is not Russian flexible, but still pretty good, especially for its age.
It's pretty rotten in a couple areas, but we've stabilized it enough to where it will last a decent while longer, and for the intents of our video here, we can display it for you guys and manipulate it.
So going to the inside, like Duke said, the main difference... No. The main difference between this and the later mask is obviously the disconnected TSO tubes.
I don't know if the camera's picking it up that well. It's kind of at a distance here, but you can sort of see down inside there you have two separate black rubber tubes that are not integrally molded inside the facepiece, and that's really all they needed. They didn't. It is nice to have integrally molded, but this probably would have been a lot easier to keep with maintenance-wise, but I understand why they made the switch, obviously.
It's still a whole lot better than the Mod 8 and its predecessor, or the 08, and its relatives with that single tube going up the middle. That just seems finicky. So
another feature that the older SM1 face pieces are lacking is on the interior diameter of the eyepieces, there is no accommodations for anti-fogging inserts. At the time, they would have only issued anti-fogging sticks, like little crayons of wax or soap that you would have rubbed inside the lenses to keep condensate from forming, in addition to the airflow deflectors. But later on, I believe it was introduced with the 41M, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. They started introducing the anti-fog inserts with that, and it became a staple of Soviet/Russian Federation mask designs ever since, even to this day.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
I still don't really understand that. I've never actually had a GP5 fog on me.
I've had a PMK. I'm sure some.
Yeah, but they don't have the routing.
They don't have any sort of internal airflow deflectors.
It makes sense for PMKs, but especially for GP5s.
I'm pretty sure I've had one fog on me, but that's probably a rare instance.
Yeah,
it'd have to be pretty harsh weather, which, Russia, sub-zero climates, I could imagine they'd be wanting to keep that in consideration. But
yeah, just as a standby, but...
It's just interesting to note when...
It's like the forward assist on a fucking...
Yeah, it's literally like the forward assist on an AR-15. It's there if you need it, but it's not entirely necessary for the most part.
And thousands of people have been designed thousands of other rifles that don't need it and don't have it.
And some still have it.
Yeah.
But anyways, I can't really think of much else to point out other than the potential markings here. So this one is a size 4, which I believe translates to a size large/extra large, if I recall correctly. Because I think 3s are large, right?
Yeah, something like that. The other interesting marking is if you invert the hood again and look on the, basically look between where the tubes are, where the tubes connect.
Well, there's a stamp right here as well. It's probably some sort of I don't know if I doubt the camera's
It's illegible.
It's basically illegible from where we're sitting, but
so on the actual angle tube mechanism, this metal plate right here, there are markings on that or on the valve from the 60s.
Interesting. Yeah, so we do have a 1960 dated tulip valve, and it has the sort of let's see what symbol that is. I can't tell quite yet. That's a 9, actually. That's not a symbol. That is a 9, which I'm almost confident represents the month of manufacture. Let's see if there's any other markings on this face piece.
Not really. There's not actually a date on the face piece itself.
There is a mold number, so I forgot.
It's pretty low too. It's like 14 or something.
No, it's a 6. I don't know. I don't know what this character is. I know all the other ones.
Well,
like
it's the
little. Yeah, the little.
Yeah, that's literally mold number. That's all that means.
Oh,
is mold number.
Okay, so this is before they put Cyrillic characters that indicated the country or the region of manufacture.
Yeah,
like M for Moscow.
This isn't marked for Yaroslavl or Moscow or anything.
Okay, interesting. I didn't actually realize that.
Yeah, I've looked at this a lot. It's interesting, but the face piece is kind of annoying because we can't
really wear it. I mean, we can, but it's pretty risky too with how you could. Yeah, I mean, you could probably just see from where you are. It's pretty discolored and dry, especially right here. It looks like dry skin, effectively, but it's all hanging together fairly well for the most part.
Yeah, it's doing okay.
But yeah, so just a very interesting example of a very hard to find configuration of sort of transitional Soviet face pieces from the interwar period.
These masks too. I would say about 5 years ago, if you actually wanted an SHM1 face piece, impossible. In the last 2 years, these things have fucking exploded. You can go on eBay right now and buy these. It's still going to cost you $300, but this is the third or fourth just face piece that I have like this. The market's changed drastically in the last couple of years.
Yeah, especially with the Ukrainian conflict that happened at just basically the outbreak of the pandemic, wasn't it? A little bit before. Yeah. There was actually a couple sellers who were selling these, and then the war broke out, and then they really started pulling out inventory. Yeah, and they were a lot more plentiful beforehand. Like, we actually managed to get a couple PMK4s, like the green bean motherfuckers, before all that shit popped off.
Those are so fucking dog shit. I don't think I could make a review on them. They're actually...
I could. I could think of all the reasons to describe why
they're fucking unintelligible. It's all the worst parts of an M98, which there are a lot of bad parts on that mask. All the worst parts of an M98 stapled to a PMK, stapled to an M40.
They also got a little bit of MSA Advantage, what's that one?
Oh, Advantage 3000 and 4000 with a head harness. It is all over the fucking... There are so many fucking gimmicks on that mask. It's ridiculous.
But the important thing is that it looks cool. As long as you make a military product that looks intimidating in footage and photographs, that's
as long as the Facebook ratniks like it, that's fine. I'm sure they donate hundreds of dollars every month to the fucking Russian military.
Especially now.
Fucking ratniks. Okay.
How do we wrap this up, Mulash?
I think I turned the camera off.
Uh-oh! Well, I think that's all we have today.
Gotta clap for that.